the moment it comes in, give it out. So the faster you deliver the information you learned, the higher and longer the retention. Knowledge that's organized has power. Knowledge is scattered, you won't retain. So use your time efficiently, link it to what you value most, spontaneously share it with somebody, and watch how you'll accelerate the momentum of your learning capacities on planet Earth. To the degree of your congruency will be the degree of your momentum building across the world. Because every human being wants to be authentic, trillions of cells inside you. And to the degree of your congruency, to the degree of your authenticity, when all the cells from the suprachiasmatic nucleus that organizes the pacemakers of all the cells in the body, and the executive function which organizes and governs all the volatility. When you are congruent and you're living by your highest value and you're clear about your mission and message and vision,
Hello everyone, Siddharth Rachika here, and welcome to this exclusive interview that I'm doing with someone that I really admire. Someone who's read multiple thousands of books, who's one of the featured teachers in the movie The Secret. And even for me, it was truly an honor and privilege to share the stage with the one and only Dr. John Demartini on multiple occasions. Doctor, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for really coming on and allowing us to now understand what does it take to take a message and make that into a movement. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you for having me. It's great.
Yes, Doctor. So I actually have planned a few questions, and we can go through the flow. And the first question is more to do with even before thinking about how we can take a message and make it into a movement. I wanted to understand from your perspective, what is your process of learning? Because I understand that you've learned so much in such a short span of time. You've been able to distill your knowledge, and I think this is the starting point to creating any impact. So how do you approach learning, Doctor?
Gosh, I could go for days on that one. Every human being lives with a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. And whatever is highest on that value priority, they spontaneously love learning. They spontaneously absorb. And their brain, in the pulvinar nuclei of the thalamus, subcortical region, is a gating filtering mechanism to screen out of the infinitude that they're bombarded with in reality, with the information that is most pertinent, that is highest in priority. And so we automatically have a selective biased attention for things that are higher on our value, and we tend to overlook things that are not. So anytime we can link or focus on what is really, truly the most important thing to us, we're going to absorb the information, retain the information, and apply the information. So anything that you want to learn, you want to ask the very simple question: how specifically is learning this particular topic and information helping me fulfill what is deeply most important to me? Because if you can make a link and answer the question multiple times, 20, 30 times, then you will automatically just absorb the information and retain it and apply it. So I linked everything for the last 48 years. Next month is 48 years of teaching. For the last 48 years, I've linked everything to the evolution of human consciousness, to the expansion of awareness and potential, in the mastery of living an inspired and amazing life on this planet, doing something extraordinary. So it doesn't matter what I'm studying, because I've studied 299 different disciplines. It doesn't matter what I study, I make that first link. Because if I can see it on the way, not in the way, I will absorb and retain and utilize that information. The second thing is the moment it comes in, give it out. So the faster you deliver the information you learned, the higher and longer the retention. So I used to get up early in the morning at 2 o'clock, do some yoga till 2:30, speed read from 2:30 to 6:30. I would read 4 to 7 books on typical. And then in the process of doing that, I would go to school, because I was in school at the time. And then I would, that night at 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock, I would deliver whatever I read that morning. And I organized my knowledge in advance of what I was going to read, just so I could sell that and let people know about that. And I did that because if I taught what I just retained, I accelerated and built momentum in the knowledge base that I had. And I geared that knowledge for the evolution of human consciousness, the mastery of life. So anything that you want to study, you want to link to what you value most, because in what you value most, you have attention surplus disorder, not attention deficit disorder. A young boy who loves video games, who can't wait to get up in the morning and do his video games, is spontaneously going to learn in that area. But you ask him to do his chores, his homework, clean his room, go to do schoolwork, etc. If it's not engaging to him, if it's not inspiring to him, if it's not spontaneous to him, he procrastinates, hesitates, and frustrates. So anything low on your value, if you try to read it, the reticular activating system will put you to sleep. But if you can link it to what you value most, you'll be engaged, inspired. As Einstein said, when you're kissing a girlfriend, 2 hours zips by like 2 minutes. When you're waiting for a freight train, 2 moments seems like 2 hours. When you're doing something that's really inspiring to you and highly engaging and really high on your values, it seems like you get present with it. You don't notice time flowing and you just absorb the information. I also realized that teaching it was absolutely crucial. Then I learned also that we can read visually or auditorily, and most people read auditorily. So if they're reading, they're going to read at the speed in which they can speak. So if they're fast speakers, they're usually fast readers. But as long as you're reading only orally, verbally, and actually saying the words as you're reading, you're going to limit the speed in which you can do it. You have to break the sound barrier and go into the visual speed of light to read. And so I would encourage either my speed reading program or some speed reading program that's out there to help you get over the sound barrier and get into visual reading, because then you can snapshot pages and knock it out. The most I ever read in one day was 11,000 pages. And I still retain the information. It was on cancer research for an oncology presentation I was doing. And I devoured literally hundreds of books in the area. And in the process of doing that, it's because I linked it to my highest value. I got into photo visual reading. I linked it to what I was attempting to do in the health fields. And so we have amazing capacities. Whenever you're doing something that's really high in your values, when you do something that challenges you, that inspires you, you wake up genius, creativity, innovation, and amazing capacities to absorb information and apply it. So those are just a few. I could go for probably a day on that. I have a whole course I do, a whole day on just advanced learning process. You also want to make sure that as you're reading, you want to code the information. So as you're going through and scanning a book or online or whatever, code the information. And don't put it on notepads because you'll be lost. Organize your knowledge. Organized knowledge has power. Organize it categorically, topically, so you got access to that information again. I used to do it on index cards years ago before we had computers back in the 70s, 80s. And every time I got an idea, whether it be from a magazine, a live seminar, presentation, books, whatever it was, I would put it on a note card, put the topic of it, and sort them in boxes of topics. So I had all of my information knowledge. Knowledge that's organized has power. Knowledge is scattered, you won't retain. So use your time efficiently, link it to what you value most, spontaneously share it with somebody, and watch how you'll accelerate the momentum of your learning capacities on planet Earth.
Amazing, Doctor. Thank you so much. In fact, we also share this a lot in our community, is to learn, do, and teach simultaneously. And
exactly.
That's exactly that you've been doing, your early morning routine, learning, and then delivering that the same day. I mean, that retention it's like reinforced multiple times. That's amazing. So connected to this question, you mentioned, Doctor, that one has to understand what are their highest values, and that way they'll be able to pick topics that they can learn and go deep into. And this is something which I've noticed even in our community. Many people find it difficult to find what is their purpose. So the question is, based on your research, is every human born with a clear purpose? If not, how do they find that purpose?
Many philosophers and thought leaders through the ages have asked, is there inherent meaning to all people, one thing, one universal value and purpose there? The answer is no. It's individualized. You may have something similar to somebody, but there'll always be something unique behind it. But your hierarchy of values dictates your destiny. And whatever's highest on your value is the path of the purpose. And Aristotle, when he discussed this in his time, showed that the very highest value was called the telos. It was the end in mind. And technology was designed to fulfill the end in mind, a means to an end. So anytime you identify what's really, truly most important, mine is teaching. I love it. I do it every day. I'm going to be doing 3 presentations a day. One of them's 14 hours today. So when you're doing something you absolutely love to do, it's your calling, it's your métier, it's your chief aim, it's your primary objective, it is your purpose. The telos means the end in mind, but the study of the telos that Aristotle was teleology, and teleology was the study of meaning and purpose. So if you want to look for your purpose, look at what you spontaneously do every single day that nobody has to remind you to do, that you absolutely can't wait to get up and do, that you're inspired to do, that you love doing every day, and start structuring your life around that. Look at what you fill your space with, what you spend your time on spontaneously. Look at what you're energized by. Look at what you put your money into. I'm sure you've probably spent quite a bit of money on personal development and education and helping people do extraordinary things. That's why you're great at it. You want to look at what is it you think about, what you visualize, what do you talk to yourself about, where are you most organized, where you're most disciplined, what is it you converse with other people about, what inspires you and brings tears to your eyes, what is it that's consistently and persistently been goals that are keep coming true, and what do you love learning about spontaneously? If you look at those indicators, those determinants, you'll get a clear idea. On my website, drdemartini.com, I have a complimentary free value determination process, which is a perfect starting point. It's complimentary, it's free, doesn't take but about 30 minutes of your time. Go there and take advantage of that, because if you identify what's really most important and structure your life according to that, and fill your day with high priority actions that inspire you, and delegate lower priority actions, and do something with that highest priority that serves, so you're remunerated for it, so you can pay for the delegations, you've liberated yourself to an inspired life. I get to do that. I don't do anything but research, write, travel, teach. I delegate everything else away. I haven't cooked since I was 24. I haven't driven a car in 30 something years. I don't do things that self-depreciate, because they cost you time and energy. You want to do the highest priority things, and the thing that absolutely is your dream and inspiration, that wakes up your executive center, that lights up an inspired vision, makes your strategic plan, makes you execute it with objectivity, and makes you govern yourself from impulses and instincts that distract you away, and say no to the things that aren't the highest priority and say yes to the things that inspire.
Amazing, doctor. You have so sublimely shared this. It's amazing. In fact, I did that value test around a year back on your website, and I knew what were the values, and I did it recently, and I noticed there was a shift in the values. So it also keeps evolving based on the different stages that we are in life.
Yes.
So does that mean that even the goal or the purpose also evolves as we are going through this journey?
Yes. My first 13 years of my life, I was into baseball. From 4 to 13, baseball. From 13 to 18 was surfing.
Okay.
I wanted to ride big waves. So I ended up living in Hawaii, riding 40-foot waves. At 17, 18, I met Paul Bragg after nearly dying there. And it became education, because I had learning problems. And I had that a long time inside, but I never believed I could overcome my learning problems. But listening to one man speak, this is the power of an individual with a message. Margaret Mead said you can never underestimate the significance of a small group of people for impacting the world. It's the only thing they ever did. One individual with an inspiring vision impacting another group like you're doing and causing a ripple effect is powerful. So this man touched my life when I was 17, right before my 18th birthday. And from that point on, it's been teaching and learning. Now, what I've taught and what I've learned along those ways has been diverse. And I have probably the most diverse speaking schedule than anybody. I mean, I can speak to governments and corporates and to all different fields. But what happens is it's all around human behavior and the evolution of human consciousness. So anything that I do revolves around that. And that has been the core, but it can evolve along the way. And whatever it is, if you stick to what's really priority, you will excel and build momentum. Donald Trump taught me many years ago. I've known him for 28 years. He said, if you want to build a momentum, you want to stay with something long enough that you literally become identified by something that you are excelled at, that you're greatest at. And that one thing that makes you excel. So there'll be a common thread, even though there's a change, there'll be a common thread to it. Find that common thread and stick to the common thread.
Thank you, Doctor. Amazing. That was, it's so much more clearer. Yeah. So even though we're evolving in the goal, but the theme would be the same and the calling would be the same. And like, even in my community, the whole concept is the freedom business model. Like, how do you build a business and live a life? And so freedom has been a common thread, even in my life, from my childhood, school days, college. And that is like, now it's manifesting in a different media, in a different form. And that's what we're doing over here. So next question, Doctor, is, you have impacted, I think last time we spoke, how many have you reached? Over 1 billion people on this planet to all the years of your
5 plus.
5 plus. How does that happen?
That's radio, television, newspapers, magazines, podcasts, webinars, seminars, movies, all different types of things we've done. We got to speak one time to 180 million people in Russia, in a Russian thing. It was a massive outlet. We did about 200 million already this year.
Amazing. Doctor, let us know, what is the scientific process of taking that message and being able to make it into a movement? I mean, that's the main theme of this discussion. Can you break it down on how are you able to really reach out to so many?
This is a great question. You have trillions of cells inside you. And to the degree of your congruency, to the degree of your authenticity, when all the cells from the supracosmic nucleus that organizes the pacemakers of all the cells in the body, and the executive function, which organizes and governs all the volatilities, when you are congruent and you're living by your highest value and you're clear about your mission and message and vision, then what happens, all the cells of your body will resonate and tingle with it and phase lock together. And so will the world. I was taught that when I was 18. Wow. And it's so true. So to the degree of your congruency will be the degree of your momentum building across the world. Because every human being wants to be authentic. See, if we go and we meet somebody and we look up to them and put them on a pedestal and minimize ourselves, we're deflating who we are, devaluing who we are, depreciating who we are, not honoring who we are. When we look down on somebody and we resent them and puff ourselves up with pride and inflate us, we're not being who we are. Anytime we exaggerate or minimize ourselves, we're not being who we are. But when we're being who we are and we're loving somebody, not looking down on them, not looking up at them, but putting them in our heart, not on pedestals or pits, and are authentic and have reflective consciousness and are present, then what happens is every human being wants to be authentic. They want to be loved and appreciated for who they are. And if you can demonstrate that, you're like a magnet to them, and they're going to end up being magnetized to you synchronously. People, places, things, ideas, and events synchronized to people who are congruent. And that is the key to making a momentum building movement, because you have got all of your physiology congruently expressing a mission. And that inspires everybody else to want to live that way, because it's innate within us to be loved and appreciated for who we are. And we can't love and appreciate us for who we are if we're not being who we are. And so to the degree of the authenticity and to the degree of the integrity of the personas being integrated into the essence of our being, we make a massive difference in the people we touch. And it creates a ripple effect that's unstoppable.
Amazing, Doctor. Like, let's talk about the authenticity itself. Like initially when I started off, it was, yes, I want to make more money. I want to it's more driven towards personal gain. And then over time it evolved into, which is more, helping others. So can you tell us a little bit more about your views on authenticity? How does one become authentic, and how does one magnetize? Any processes or any steps that you think we should take? Yeah.
Your highest value, your identity revolves around. So my highest value is learning and teaching. So if somebody came up to me and said, who are you? Ontological question, who are you? I would say teacher, educator. I wouldn't say cook. I wouldn't say driver. I wouldn't say those things because that's not priority to me.
Mm.
So your identity revolves around your highest value. Your epistemological yearning to learn goes around your highest value. Your mission and purpose revolves around your highest value. So knowing what that is and living congruently with that is the key to authenticity.
Mm.
That's where you're most objective. Your blood glucose and oxygen goes into the forebrain, into the executive function, in the medial prefrontal cortex, the moment you live by the highest priority. And when you do, you're most objective. And you activate nerve fibers into the V5, V6 of the visual cortex, and you see an inspired vision. And when you can see an inspired vision, you can fluently articulate it. And when you can fluently articulate an inspired vision, you magnetize people to you. And because people can see the vision and want to help you build it. And so building momentum and making a ripple effect comes again from that. And the way you get authentic is by sticking to what's highest in priority. If you don't fill your day with highest priority actions that inspire you, your day is designed to fill up with low priority distractions that don't, as a feedback mechanism to let you know you're not authentic. Everything in your physiology, psychology, sociology, and theology around you is attempting to get you to be you. And that's why everything is on the way. There's nothing in the way of your dreams. Everything is on the way. You just misinterpret it. Take the time to find out how whatever's happening, whatever you read, whatever you experience, how's it helping you fulfill your highest value, and watch what happens. You'll be building momentum and moving with more energy and more vitality and more magnetism.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor, for decoding that. Next question is to do with the system. Like right now, if you look at the education system and the employment system, it is all making people employable or putting people into boxes, which is why possibly a big portion of this world, I mean, people are really not driven by what they want to do. They're not able to find what is their value system or their calling unless they come across any of your teachings or into the personal development world. So have you been thinking about what can the new system be like? I mean, if you're going to be now, in fact, now the last few months, the world has completely been changed and people have, they've started to identify their real priorities in life. So can you share with us if you have any model in your mind in terms of what would be the ideal system to help people get aligned with their values right from a younger age?
Well, I've been involved in it and doing it with schools and education and the different levels of education. When somebody goes to school, they have certain things they're spontaneously want to learn. If they can't see how the classes that they're taking is going to help them fulfill what's highest on their values, they're not going to be engaged. And they're going to end up with attention deficit labels. They're going to give defiant disorder labels. They're going to get all these labels. Labels are put on people who don't know how to communicate with those people, because everybody has a unique set of values that are like a fingerprint to them. And if you care enough about communicating what's important to you in terms of those values, they're engaged. So in work, nobody goes to work for the sake of a company. They go to work to fulfill what they value most. And whatever that value is not right or wrong. That's the illusion. People have been saying that corporations have values. No, people have values, and the people who lead the corporation have values. And then they try to inculcate that and project that down into the people and try to create a culture. But that's not how it's done. It's not by force. It's not by autocracy. It's not by tyranny. It's by caring enough to find out who you've hired, to find out what their values are, and make sure you plug them into a place where the job description can meet those, and make sure that they can see how those job duties daily are helping them fulfill their values. And you won't have to micromanage them. They'll be fully engaged. They'll be innovative and creative. They'll actually contribute. They'll think of it as their own identity. Because when people are doing what they really love at work, they think it's their job, their company. But when people are disengaged, they go, the company I work for, it's third person. So to maximize engagement, you want to make sure that there's a link between what they're doing on a daily basis and what they value most. And when they do, they don't want to take a break. They don't want to get away. They don't want to take a vacation. They don't want to retire. They want to do what they love doing. They do something meaningful. Whatever's highest on your values, where you have the most meaning and most purpose. And people want meaning in life. If not, if they don't fill their day with high priority actions that inspire them, that give them meaning, they're automatically going to go into low priority distractions, hedonistic pursuits, consumerism, looking for hedonistic pleasures over pains, consuming food, consuming all kinds of distractions, addictive, consumptive, impulsive, compulsive behaviors are byproducts of unfulfilled highest values. So don't hire somebody that doesn't, that they can't see how that value that they have is going to be met by that job description. So you have to reallocate the job description or define it and make sure you screen people according to what they value and find somebody that absolutely loves doing that. When you do, you can release it, you can delegate it, you can free it up, you don't micromanage, and you get on with your own mission. If you're having to think about somebody else and micromanage somebody, you've got the person that's a square peg in a round hole.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That, and you can manage people now. I've been training people in just Japan alone. We have 400 consultants teaching that method in corporations, all different types of corporations. We've got it in educational systems. And what happens is we took a group of kids in South Africa in Alexander Township that was, they had only had 27% pass rate. These kids are extreme poverty. They're living in shacks. They have hardly any decent education, but only 27 out of 100 were passing school. We went in there and implemented this thing in 16 hours of education. That's all we did. That following, at the end of that year, 97% passed school.
Amazing.
So once they can see how what they're studying is going to help them fulfill what they want in life, and they deserve to know that, they will excel. Yes. Kids want to learn. They always want to learn. They just want to learn what's important to them. And if you don't honor that and don't find out what it is and don't respect that, and autocracy push down on them what they have to learn, they're not engaged. Same thing in business.
So true, Doctor. I mean, that shows the importance of the role of the teacher. Yeah, and because they are the ones who are actually going to enable that for them to either bloom or go in the other direction.
If the teacher can't see how what they're teaching is inspiring to them and fulfilling their values, they're not going to be engaged. They're not going to be enthused. Why would somebody want to listen to them?
Exactly.
I had a teacher when I was in professional school many years ago that most people were snoring. They were falling asleep or leaving. And he just kept going on. I walked up to him. I said, "Do you mind if I stand up and do some teaching for a minute?" And he just, "You want to do it?" "Yeah, because that way I'll learn it." Because I asked him if I could do it. I told him that, I said, "Watch the class now. They're all asleep. They're all falling asleep. They're walking out. Watch this." We went in there and we did the presentation on it. And I got to teach the class after that. And he got to listen in on the class. And I explained to him that if you're not inspired by embryology, don't teach it. Don't try to share something that's not certain, that you don't know, you're not inspired by, you're not enthused about, you don't love it, you don't want to learn about it. Don't teach something that's not true for you. This is just like selling. Don't sell something that's not truly meaningful, something that's inspiring to you.
Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you, Doctor, for that. I mean, it's so true. It's all interconnected, you know, the teacher, the student.
I was asked one time to do a presentation on a particular topic. And I said, "If you want me to do a presentation on that, it'll suck." And they go, "What do you mean?" They said, "What do you mean?" I said, I've never seen you not do a great presentation. And I said, "Because that topic sucks. It has nothing to do with me." I said, "I can do this, this, and this, and this." So, "Well, will you do that?" And I'll go, "Yeah, now I'll do that. And now we'll do a great presentation." But if it's absolutely boring to somebody, they're not going to want to do it. And it was something that they thought the company needed, instead of what the company needed. I went in there and found out what the people were needing, and then I gave them that, and that place was on fire when we got through. Makes a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. This is really, really insightful. Next question is more to do with revolutions, like movements. Like when I look at people like, say Mahatma Gandhi, say Martin Luther King, and all these big names who have, you know, created like a revolution, and that's like continuing on. Even many religious movements also, where even after the founder has, you know, left this planet, the movement still exists and it's growing. Have you been able to decode what creates revolutions?
Well, anytime you have a void in a society that somebody fills, that there's a movement to want to fill it, you've got something that'll perpetuate. Anytime you structure it in such a way where everybody wins inside it, finding a cause that inspires a large group of people who can win out of going and pursuing it individually in their own values, economically possibly, or socially, it's got to hit one of their highest values, whatever that is. And they can do that. They will engage and they'll perpetuate it. So and what usually happens is when you are really inspired by what you do, you draw naturally existing economic relationships and naturally existing relationships. I call it the science of naturally right, being naturally right. So when you're actually inspired by what you do, you draw people that match that. You might say if you're a chief and you're running a tribe, you draw people that want to be chiefs, and they'll perpetuate that. But it's to the degree of your congruency that you get that. If you're incongruent, it's hard to find the people because you're going to get a bunch of incongruent people around you and it's chaos.
Yes.
It's the key is actually being authentic, because when people can see that you're committed to something longer term and not just a quick fix, a longer term thing, they get engaged because there's a part of them that wants to be part of that. And that creates movement. So it's caring enough to sharing the message and a mission that truly inspires you in a way that fulfills those values of those individuals. And if they can see how they can fulfill what they value most by fulfilling that vision, they'll keep that vision going.
Perfect, doctor. I mean, it's so clear. We are seeing now this whole training and coaching industry it's booming now, even in India. Like everyone is becoming a coach, a trainer, they're picking up their topics. And especially now after the COVID, everything is moving online. Schools going online, colleges are going online, and everyone wants to get a piece of this big growth industry. So the question is, what are your views on where you see this going? And I'm talking specifically the training and coaching and consulting industry. And connected to that is, how does one cut through the noise and bring out their unique voice when there's so many people doing similar things? So that's the question, Doctor. Yeah.
Ricardo, the economist, said that every country has its own economic advantage, its competitive advantage, by finding the resources that it has that's excellent, the highest resources. So if you go to South Africa, it may be mining. You go to Houston, Texas, it may be oil, these kind of things. But inside the individual, whatever's highest on their value is that highest resource. So if an individual finds that thing that they can't wait to get up in the morning and fulfill, that is where they're going to excel. And as long as they can find that in their customer and fill that in their customer, the highest value in their customer, they are going to be leaders in the business. And what's going to happen is the people who are not really fully engaged and not able to get those, they're going to fall apart. They're going to fall to the wayside. So it makes no difference. There's never competition to an authentic individual. We can never be first being somebody else, but we can always be first being ourselves. So to the degree of our authenticity, to the degree of the integrity of what we're doing, and to the degree that we can communicate in a way that's meeting people's needs, we're unstoppable. There's nothing going to stop us. Now, it's interesting. In 1987, I did a presentation to 17 individuals in a design place here in Houston, Texas. And there was a gentleman named Thomas Leonard and Sandy Vilas that was there. There's also another guy, Monty Pendleton. He started the mentor movement, and Sandy and Thomas Leonard started the coaching movement. Okay. That started in a seminar in Houston, Texas in 1987. He then created Coach USA, Coachville, and the coaching industries that spread across the world. All of the coaching industry started in 1987 in a seminar that I was given. And those guys went and took it when it went wild with it in America, and then it started going to all the other countries. Now there's thousands of coaching systems. But the coaching system is always going to be there when the coach is there.
Yes.
If you show up, they'll show up. If you can't wait to get in the morning to deliver service, people can't wait to get your service. But if you go in there and compare yourself to others, try to duplicate and fit in and be conformist and follow what everybody else is doing, you'll be diluted out. You've got to be able to take the information and find something original. It's a wise thing. One of my master planning programs that I teach on how to master plan your life and design your life. Because if you live by duty, you're not going to live by design. And if you follow the herd and you follow the culture, you're not going to create a culture. So you have to go and find out what is uniqueness that you have. What is your features, your advantages, your utilities, the services, the uniqueness that you have, the benefits that you have that are completely unique to you. You know, I have a lot of uniqueness. I've written them all out. I know what my uniquenesses are. You know, I've traveled 20 million miles traveling on flights now. I've spoken 154 countries. You got to find out what is unique about you. What is it, the breadth of knowledge that you have or the depth of knowledge that you have? Find out that and make a list of the uniquenesses and capitalize on the uniquenesses. Look at the common denominator of any testimonial you get from any client and look for the most common testimonial terms and find out, because that's what you're excelling at. That's what you're delivering. And stick to making sure that you start with what you know and let what you know grow, and stick to what you are great at that you know you can deliver. If you're not certain about the delivery of what you can do and that it will work, don't do it. Find the thing you're certain about that you can deliver, and there'll be a business and there'll build momentum and they'll know you by that. And find out what that is. And if it's linked to your highest values, you won't be stopped. Nothing mortal can interfere with an immortal visionary, I'd say.
Yes, yes. So just to wind up this interview, just a couple of more like personal questions is like, how do you plan your day, doctor? I mean, do you have any structure on your productivity? Like how many hours you work, when do you wake up? Is it like a routine that you've been following for years? Just let us know on that, on how we can improve our productivity. Yes.
Well, with my schedule, I'm at all different hours because I'm right now, I got up about 5 something this morning and I have this seminar. And then right after this, I start a 14-hour seminar, and right at the dinner time in that one, I have another seminar. And I sometimes do consulting at lunch in Africa. So I have a full day, but most time I get up and I basically go and clean up and everything, get ready and drink water and have something to nibble on. And then I get to work. And I'll knock out some emails. But my day, I've delegated so much that all I do is research, write, teach. Normally I'm traveling, but I'm traveling by Zoom now. So I don't have to do anything else.
Yes.
Years ago, I learned by reading a book called The Time Trap, how to delegate things. And I've delegated everything. So all administrative, all management, all that, all my financial structures are all automated. So there's no way I cannot be super wealthy. There's no way. It's growing every day. So I've structured things where I don't have to think about it. I learned from William James, the father of modern psychology, to anything that you want to be able to delegate, or anything that you don't want to have to think about, automate. So I just automate everything, and all I do is research, write, and teach. And right now I'll be traveling once the St. Corona's going to the next day, but I just do those 3 things. So I don't have anything that I need to do other than those 3 things. So I'm knocking out a book and I'm making notes. But I learned a long time ago, I got to share this. I learned a long time ago from Mary Kay from Mary Kay Cosmetics. I did 4,500 of those lovely ladies. And I met with Mary Kay and I asked her what advice could she give a young man who wants to reach the world with a message. And she said, every day, write down the 6 or 7 highest priority actions you can do that day that'll help you fulfill your dreams. And so I did that on an index card and I wrote them down and I kept those cards in a box. And I did it every single day. What are the highest priority actions I can do today that can help me fulfill my mission on earth? And I wrote those every day. Then I took those and I looked at what was the highest priority of the highest priorities over a period of time. And it came out: research, write, travel, teach. So I delegate everything else away so I could do research, write, travel, teach. Everything else is delegated out. Now my teaching can be one-on-one in a consulting or coaching, or it could be one-on-many in a keynote speech, or it could be a mass media, it doesn't matter. But the delivery of teaching is the highest priority thing. And so I fill my day with that. And I do everything to fill that day with that. If you fill your day with that, amazing stuff around you merges, and the people help you by delegating. So don't do low priority things. Don't do things that aren't inspiring to you. Work your way up the ladder and delegate everything else away and watch what happens.
Amazing, amazing, doctor. So the last question is, how do you keep yourself so fit, doctor? You're now 66, and you just don't look that way, and you're so energetic. You're doing a 14-hour seminar just after this. I mean, what is the secret to maintaining your body?
Your vitality in life is directly proportional to the vividness of your vision, the articulation of your speech, and the clarity of your mission. That's your vitality. And we automatically plateau when we don't have a clear vision. But when our vision is clear, we have vitality. And vitality is automatically also proportionate to the details you put in your mind. So if you've got everything delegated and you're clear about what you do, your vitality's up. And when you do something you love to do, you don't age as much. I think that the reason why I think I'm doing pretty good is because I do what I love every day. I've delegated the rest away. Now,
Mm.
anytime you're doing lower party things, you're more in your amygdala. The amygdala is always trying to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And
Yes.
so it tends to subjectively skew your reality. And you tend to then have a fear of loss of your infatuations and a fear of gain of your resentments. And you're living in phobias, and that ages you. It puts time and space in your mind and occupies your mind and
Mm.
distracts you. That's what ages. That's what entropy is.
Mm.
So filling your day with the highest priority things is negentropy. As Erwin Schroeder, the Nobel Prize winner, describes, negentropy is life physics. Entropy is death physics. So if we're not
Yes.
doing the highest priority thing, we're going to have death physics. So stick to the priority and watch what happens. Your vitality will go way up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. Truly an honor and privilege to have you share with us these really amazing insights, and looking forward to continuing on this learning journey with you in the multiple other events that you're going to be doing, other programs. So our entire community, we're going to be following you and getting inspired by your message. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Doctor. And I think this conversation is going to reach out to thousands of people, and we are going to create that ripple effect. And yeah, we will make you proud by taking forward whatever you have shared with us and implementing it in our lives. Thank you,
Thank you
Doctor.
so much for the interview. A lovely interview. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, your mission. And anytime I can be of service, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.